Probably should keep a better eye on for notifications, because it seems Joe started streaming as well. Seemingly playing Far Cry 6, which I'm interested in just for the cockfighting, yes, minigame. But at the same time, I've yet to play a Far Cry game. Anyway, this is not a Far Cry stream. This is a Spoopy Month stream. But we will not be playing Lucius and his very horny uncle. I did not get banned for that, clearly. I was like, man, at the time, that was scary. I honestly thought I was gonna get banned. Anyway, I don't know where I picked up this book as a dungeon. I assume it was from Humble Bundle or something like that. And when testing it, I noticed it might be a game where I'm gonna have to do a lot of reading. Because, yeah. Please note, it starts up on stream. Nope. How do I turn on stream then? How do I turn on mouse then? Hide cursor. Nope. I'll have to Google that for next time. But yeah, 40,000 word dev diary. Which holy shit, I'm kind of tempted to read. But I must also up. 40,000 dev word diary. It is, oh, awesome, I can highlight myself. It is fascinating and I want to read it. But first, we're going to need to do some reading in a different way. Let's start from the very beginning. Tick, 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 tick. You're going too fast for me. You remember a time when you used to steal. You remember a time when you used to steal 18 glances at the clock, praying for the strike of the merciful hour that finally set you free. And my stuttering, folks, is why I have not been reading texts before. Temporarily released from the shackles of the tiresome workday, you'd eagerly rush home. Said your work closed like a burdensome second skin, and flint off into the night to join friends for merriment and mischief. Those days are gone. The shift came on slowly at first. Sharp pains, dizziness, restfulness, insomnia. But as even more unsettling changes tightened their grip within you, it became clear something was very wrong. I am terrible at voice acting, Mercy. I will be honest, I'm having fun with this so far. Poked, prodded, examined, analyzed, a battery of tests, a gauntlet of medical pummeling and anxious uncertainty. And then the waiting. When the call finally came, you already knew the answer before the words rolled off the lips, rasping away on the other end of the line. Lost in an echo chamber. Oh hell! Oh no! The truly horrifying place. We're stuck in Twitter. Lost Regain your composure, saying, you fucking hyena. Lost in an echo chamber, you mine past only snippets of the doctor's news. The ones that stung the most. It's terminal. A year left to live. Maybe 2 at best. I am so sorry. And then you're alone. Now time is your enemy, sipping away at the last of you with every passing moment, draining the light, the colour from your world, leaving an empty cell of aching hopelessness and dark anticipation in its wake. The clanking of keyboards. Oh, you must be familiar with my streams then. Ringing of phones. Out. I can say that same joke again. And a casual banter of clueless co-workers is a steady ache. Well, at least that was not accurate to my streams, because the clueless one is just me. It rakes at the frayed corners, pulls at the tattered what's the matter time? Pulls at the tattered edges of your weary mind. But the appointed hour has arrived. It dampens a year already. It dampens the den, if only for a short while. Tomorrow, I get it now. Tomorrow is another day, for them at least. For you, possibly. You linger for just a minute longer, letting the eager parade filter through the exit. Click on it, you dummy. The last to leave, you close up, lock the door, and pull your overcoat tight around you. A spitting mist turns into a downpour well before you reach the dry sanctuary of the putrid subway entrance. The stairs are a descent into the unpleasant smells and a hustled near misses as bustling crowds crush together. I really like the language of this game. To get to and from their mundane 9 to 5s. I notice I'm slowly trying to put on my best Frederick down the rabbit hole impression. For a moment you miss that simplicity of routine, the promise of continuance. Standing at the edge of the platform, you look down at the electrified tracks. Wind picks up in the tunnel, signaling the rapid approaching train. Your mind wanders. A little bit of a grammar issue, but minor ones. You imagine what it's like to You imagine what it'd be like to be caught on the tracks right as the train comes barreling through at 60 miles per hour. Death is a beacon, drawing you ever closer. It swirls and dances on the sparkling steel girders below. It teases and taunts, only inches away. Come to me, whispers the silent call. It's not yet time. You take a few steps back from the yellow line. 20 minutes feels like an eternity in the packed subway car. Damp, sweaty, exhaustion and regret, mixed with promise and delusion. A wagon filled, a wagon full of cattle, oblivious, tuned out, numb. Stop by stop, the opening and closing of the door thins the herd. It's a welcome calling, a sifting of space, a loosening of knots. Soon you're the last. You can breathe easy again. Almost. But you can still scan the car with a quick glance out of habit. One last time to make sure you're truly alone. Except you're not quite alone. There's a small leather satchel sitting on an empty seat in the far corner of the car. You glance around again, not trusting your weary eyes. There's still not a living soul save your own. The handrail is sticky with grime from the clutch of 1,000 dirty fingers. Filthy. You wince at its touch, but it offers stability as you work your way to the other end of the car towards the orphan satchel. Where did its owner go? The bag is wetted and worn. Some tired soul will no doubt be missing its contents. You get her. What does it mean by you get her? A high-pitched whine pierces the air. As a car rocks and rattles, the lights flicker. 32nd Street. It's your stop. Time to go. Do you take the bag? Do you leave it here? Let's leave it, see what happens. You decide to leave the bag and hurry home to change out of your wet clothes. The thick, stale underground air turns cool and damp as you emerge from the city's high-speed intestines and hit the noisy streets above. 340 steps later, you're at the door of your second-story apartment. Fumbling the keys, mumbling under your breath, the lock finally gives way. As you walk through the door, something catches on your foot. It's a package. Hey, we got mail. Mustn't have noticed it. You pick it up and head inside. Peeling off your soaked coat, you drop everything on the table, kick off your shoes, and check your answering machine. You have no new messages. No surprises there. Ignoring the pile of unwashed dishes and empty fridge, you sidle? What does sidle mean? I'm actually curious. Walk in a furtive, unobtrusive, or timid manner, especially sideways or obliquely.
Sidle. Sidle.
Alright. You sidle back to the table and remember the package. You notice there's no return address on the small parcel. Opening it up, you find an old book inside. Nothing more, nothing less. I expected that to be what's in the satchel. The book is aged and weathered. Its cover is adorned with an ominous skeletal being that looks half human, half serpent. And the title is written in a language you don't have the tongue to decipher. German. Open the book. Unlocking the old book, you open the cover and flick through the dusty pages. The book appears to be blank. How old? Oh, dumb. How odd. Flip to the first page. The frail pages seem brittle to the touch, as if they're in danger of crumbling into nothingness. Yet your fingers resonate with an unknown energy. Alright, let's try the last page. You turn to the last page. Nothing. Nope. You flick to a random page and find nothing. Are your eyes playing tricks on you? Or did you see the faint glimmer of words fading from view just now? Flipping through the pages, a faint flicker of ink catches your eye. You flip back several pages to try and find it. After much searching, you uncover a page that sports a faint drawing of a keyhole, sketched in pencil. You instinctively reach out a finger and trace it over the drawing. A sudden sharp pain, a paper cut, spurs you to pull your hand away quickly. Looking down, you notice the keyhole sketch has been changed. Looking down, you notice the keyhole sketch has changed into a faint fanged serpent. Spots of your blood dot the page. You need the spots of blood as he appeared. Yeah, just to get rid of all the white. The room swims. You feel faint and disoriented. Your vision goes blank as you hit the floor. A sharp impact slams your temple to the wall white burning through your conscience. Then, empty space. You fall through the black void. Erasing the past. Erasing the future. No future, no future, only the present. What is happening? Where am I? Who am I? What is this darkness eating away inside me? And then, a light. Ah, that kind of hurt. You awake in a small chamber, illuminated by the light of a single flickering torch resting in the sconce? Is that one of those metal fireplace thingies you see in old castles? The sharp throb pulsating behind your eyes fades quickly, but unpleasant chill is creeping in. You notice the words scratched into the stone. You notice words scratched into the stone floor. At this distance, the torchlight is too dim to make out what they say. This is reminding me of that old Nightmare. With like the kids trying to lead another member of their team down a dungeon. And the host, whenever they died, was just like, ooh, nasty. I think it was called Nightmare. You grab the torch from the wall sconce and take comfort in the subtle warmth it breathes across your face. You can now get a better look at your surroundings. Holding the torch closer to the floor, you can clearly see the inscription carved there. It reads, Chapter 1, Why the Walls Bleed. A heavy wooden door to the south appears to be the only way in or out of this pit. The door creaks and shudders open as you strain against its weight. You find yourself in a larger stone room that's cavernous and empty. The echoing sound of water droplets comes from a passage to the west. You catch a whiff of something familiar, something out of place. Is that? You notice another passageway to the east, as well as the door you just came through. I'm curious, what is that? Citrus? Never eat solid. Okay, so the west is a one-way route. Let's give it a try. The narrow corridor opens into a dead-end room that reeks of over-ripened fruit. You're blasted with the sweet, pungent odor which nearly overpowers you. Looking around, you notice a viscous, reddish substance draining out of several large, round holes in the wall. This mysterious fluid drips in a This mysterious fluid drips down in a slow, syrupy cascade, collecting in stone basins carved along the base of the wall. The only exit is through the passage you came in, to the east. What is this reddish substance? The sweet odor is emanating from this odd liquid. You decide to leave it alone for now. Probably blood, I would assume. I'm gonna get a drink before I leave that passage zone. Pressing further into the unknown depths, your eyes play tricks in the torchlight. What lurks in the darkness ahead, skidding away just beyond the glow of your torch. As you round the corner, you notice a small alcove? Yeah, alcove. In the passageway. Here. Oh. A small alcove in the passageway here. Now full stop. The corridor continues to the east. The northern passage leads around the corner back to the west. Actually, no. Let's check the alcove. There's a large crack in the wall of the alcove. It's not big enough for you to squeeze through, but who knows what could be in there. Let's not and say we did. A pile of bones and skulls lay scattered across a large stone slab in the center of this chamber. Along the far wall, a series of sharp hooks dangle from the ceiling by chains. It's clear that much suffering befell the poor souls who met their fate in this place. Smears of their dried blood, now darkened with time and decay, paint a macabre scene. A passageway extends to the west. The southern door opens into a long hallway. Check out the hooks. You imagine what it might feel like being strung up with one of these rusty things hooked into your guts, waiting to be eaten alive. And then you banish the thought from your mind. Rattle me bones. The bones have been picked clean, and some markings have been gnawed on. You notice 2 human skulls amidst the remains. Searching through the remains, you disturb one of the human skulls, which falls off the stone slab and clatters to the floor. Beneath it, you find a scrap of paper. Oh, awesome. What's on the paper? The aged parchment is faded and covered in drops of long, dry blood. It reads, "This awful place. What have I done? What have I become? Please forgive me." Wait, okay, west. The floor has collapsed in the hallway ahead, which is flooded with stagnant, murky water. On the opposite side lies an ornate door. You peer into its depths and wonder what might lie in the waiting just beneath the simmering surface. Chunks of rubble are crumbling off the side of the wall by the edge of the walkway. What's on the rubble? You pick up a fist-sized chunk of rubble and hurl it into the water. It splashes, then sinks. The water's surface comes splashing to life as something makes quick work of the rubble. You quickly skirt around the edges of the watery corridor while the unknown beast is distracted. So I assume if I just ran straight in, that would have been a death right there. Beyond the ornate door, you enter a nicer room. The stone is more chiseled and refined. Red tapestries hang on the walls, and the decor is a comforting upgrade from the dank, crumbling corridors you just crawled out of. 4 tall display cases are positioned around the fancy chamber. You also see a stairway leading to the door to the north, a smaller closet door to the east, a passage lies to the south. This feels like I'm trying to be DM. Like this is a DM simulator. And you know what? I may not have played as much D&D as I would like, and I've never been a DM, but I hope if I ever do DM, I have I get a vocabulary like this game's. Because it has a good way of words. Then I'm probably horribly morally for my speech impediment. Or less, but whatever. And just sounding like a dummy in general. Let's check out the display cases. At a cursory glance, the towering display cases appear to be filled with a greenish fluid. There's also something else inside them too. Well, we'll start with number one. Preserved within the green fluid is a desecrated corpse that looks like it might once have been human. It's missing both its arms. The body's one remaining leg is tethered by a chain latched to the base of the display. The mouth has been crudely sewn shut, and a cluster of worm-like creatures are floating out from the gaps in the stitching. Ugh, ew. What's in the second one? You find a wolf-like creature hanging upside down in the green fluid. Its poorly stitched stomach cavity is burst open inside the display, with ropes of long, stringy worms floating out from it alongside its entrails. Looking more closely at the gruesome display, you notice the creature's eyes twitch and blink. This is murder on the phone speaking so much. Not used to doing that. Two severed human torsos have been stitched together in a gory mirror image at the waist. Ropey clusters of worms are spilling out from the seam. Whoever did this needs to get better stitches. This one is empty, drained of its fluid and lacking a grisly companion within. There leads door to the north. Let's go to the closet door. The door's locked. Okay. You walk up the small stairs, open the door, and enter a sitting chamber. The clanking of chains draws you further into the room. Bound to a throne resting at the far wall of the chamber, you find a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bird. It looks off into the distance, unblinking. There's also a large door to the west, and the door you enter then to the south. We gotta check out the creature. It looks badass. As you step closer, the creature speaks with a slow, raspy cadence. Ah, I feel a presence. What is it? What is it? Oh, what could it want from me? Little me, shackled away in these filthy metal irons. Filthy little irons to hold my flesh and bone. Yeah, I got a thingy. It is a strange thing indeed. So very strange and fleshy it is. It reeks of other world, doesn't it? Little me wonders why it stands there, poised with some unknown purpose. The thump, thump, thump of its heart beats a hair faster now, doesn't it? Like the tap, tap, tap of ticking time. What manner of fluid flows beneath its skin, wonders little me. Ah, its breath is tinged with wicked curiosity. What could it want with little me then? Does it seek to put the sharpness to my flesh? To spill the essence to the floor? Does it take my sanity? Does it feed me the delicious sweet nectar I crave? I miss it so dearly. Or perhaps it has something else in mind for little me. What does the sweet nectar mean? Treacherous! It teases little me with its lies. Poor little me with no sweet nectar to drink. It returns when it has something sweet for me. The bird creature continues to mutter itself. If I go back, can I get that nectar? Kind of want to try. Upwards. Rest. No. Dumb. Never eat. Okay, so I can't get that yet. Alright, I'll bite. You reach into the hole and immediately recoil as the teeny mass of steam biting insects swarms up to your arm. It takes a minute to fling them off. So just seen that coming. Actually, I did see that coming. It was last time. North. West. Door. Blood's door. It's locked. Okay. Waiting here. Always waiting for the next to come and play. Up. Something else in mind? What else could it possibly want with little me? Oh, we can try to free it. You reach out to test the strength of its chains, and the creature gets anxious. Yeah? It wishes to set me free? Oh, yes! Yes! That is very good! What will you use to break the chains? Your hands? It's stronger. Oh! Awesome. Behind the throne you find a dislodged piece of stone that might be big enough. You reach out to test the strength of its chains. Oh, we read this part. You heft the large stone and smash the chain until it finally snaps. A sudden flurry of excitement washes over the creature. It frees little me. Oh. Oh. Then it looks up at you and even hunched over, the creature is much taller than it first seemed. Looks down at his hands and flexes each talon finger. It will make such a pretty addition. Well, that's thankful. I'm actually slightly annoyed at that bird now. It was badass to boot. Citrus, yes. East. West. Right, back to east. North. West. Can I just take the key then? Yes, let's try to take the Siny. It does! It does come for my Siny! You tug the necklace free from the bird creature's neck. Now it searches for my sweetness, the creature mutters. Oh, closet key. You unlock the door and creep into a large closet, which appears to be home to many strange vials and instruments of some dark alchemy. You rummage through the detritus and find a small wooden bowl. Oh, so now can we get the citrus? Boy. Rest. Rest. Rotten fruit. This must be the substance the strange creature is thirsting for. Moving closer to the pungent ooze cascade, you carefully position the ornate wooden bowl beneath one of those streams that managed to collect a generous amount of the sticky red goo. An unsettling cackle echoes from the dungeon far off on the east. Door. Oops. It turns out you didn't miss it, huh? North. West. On a door. So it returns. What could it possibly require of little me? I smell that it has brought me something nice. Will it give me Will it give a taste of the sweetness to little me? Yes, the sweetness. You bring the bowl of sticky red fluid to its beak. The creature takes a sip. A moment of pure ecstasy washes over its face. Then it writhes and convulses into a sickening gurgle as it strains against the chains. After a moment of this, the convulsions subside. It gives little me another sweet taste, please. Oh, I'll give it a nice sip. Ah, yes. Again, the creature hungrily swallows another gulp with a newfound desperation. This is followed by another bout of writhing, more violent than before. The creature looks pale and sickly now. More! It gives me more! It gives little me more! Yeah, let's give it the rest of the goop. You pour the final draughts down its beak. The bird creature writhes in agony one last time. It twitches, jerks its head to the side, and then stops moving. After a moment of stillness, the creature's skin pulsates and begins to liquefy. You look close. Oh, damn. You look closer at the bleached bones of the bird creature's skeletal remains, and notice a strange object in the pile. It's another key, larger than the first. You grab the larger key. The heavy door is decorated with scratch marks and dried bloodstains. It's locked. You place the key in the lock. It fits. You unlock the door and the key immediately crumbles to dust in your hands. You step through the doorway and enter into a sprawling cavern. The door slams shut behind you and disappears. The floor drops off in the sharp cliff up ahead. Though you can't yet see what lies beyond, a dim reddish glow illuminates from the cavern walls beyond the precipice. Ugh. Really not used to talking this much. You also hear a rolling gurgle and bubbling sounds echoing from the path ahead. As you step closer to the edge, a thunderous howl reverberates through the cavern. You look down at the sickening mass writhing below. The cave floor on the ground below is almost entirely covered in a mixture of slime and thick, ropey strands of mucus. A giant worm-like beast is perched on the far side of the cavern, belching blasts of a sweet-smelling red substance for a putrid office. Oh, that must be where the citrus stuff comes from. The vile liquid flows outward from its pulsating frame and pulls into the opposite end of the cavern. You watch it slowly drain into a hole in the wall, traveling to the deeper reaches of the underground realm. The massive creature undulates and writhes every few seconds, releasing more of the noxious fluid. Another howl from the beast echoes throughout the cavern. It's partly blocking the path ahead. I'm gonna look around because that feels like a bad idea. Your eyes scan the nooks and crannies of the upper cavern. The beast howls again, shaking the cavern walls. He knocks loose a few fist-sized stones along the wall. You notice a narrow ledge you didn't see before. It appears to creep around the side of the cavern, but you can't see where it leads. Well, fighting the thing seems like a bad idea, so let's try the ledge. The ledge is barely wide enough to get a footing on, but you manage to creep out into the upper cavern as you grip the wall tightly. Inch by inch, you move your way across the gap. When you finally risk a glance at the ground far below, you realize that you're right above the worm beast. Which is when the fragile ledge crumbles beneath your feet. Oh, oops. Well, we've been roared. Oh, the gallery hub means something completely different. There's only 2 levels in this. their art now. Okay, this is saying outside the sparkle a bit. I might. Yeah. I might close and reload this. Just so then. Oh, there we go. I'm partly determined to finish at least the first area. I was really hoping gallery was going to be like what of these images I've seen so far. First, east, north, west, cool. Self, closet. You should be happy, bird. You're about to get fed again. Up every time. Rest. 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 You return to the chamber where you first began. As it turns out, you don't miss it. Right door. And now we're going to drown the bird again. I am morbidly curious what this would taste like, but it'll probably kill me as well. What does happen if I stow the bottle away? Why? Why does it do this to little me? Must have another taste of the sweetness. Alright. Let's try the fist-sized stones this time. Hefting the sizable stone, you wind up and fling it down towards the hulking worm beast. It narrowly misses, clattering to the wall next to the creature. The rock attracted its attention. Or another. You launch another heavy rock into the air. This time it strikes the beast directly, spurring the creature to howl and twitch in fury. In its anger, the beast slithers its mighty girth a few steps closer to the ooze pit, leaving a narrow gap leaving a narrow path beneath its mucus slathering frame and the far wall. Really doesn't want. The cliff is steep. It's a far drop. Grasping the lip, you slink over the edge and begin lowering yourself down the rocky wall. You reach the halfway point when your fingers slip. Okay, we die again. The forceful impact knocks the wind out of you and sends your sparse possession skittering into a pool of sticky red fluid. Luckily, the worm creature appears not to notice your fumble, that or doesn't care, for the moment. There's a narrow, mucus-filled path along the wall where the worm once lay. It's a tight fit, but you may be able to get by with some care. Oh, that sounds like death. Or you can wade through the pool of red fluid to go around the worm on its other side. I'll try the path. As the worm is distracted by its liquid vomit cycle, you gingerly creep around the far wall. Stepping over the thick yellow strands of mucus is a challenge. You hold your breath and clamp your mouth shut to keep the bile down. You make it through alive, miraculously. Quietly you proceed past the worm, past the ooze, and onto the stairway beyond. As you descend, the rough-hewn cave passage gives way to start. Whatever. Draw you deeper into a well-lit chamber ahead. Oh, this is a pacing moment. Torches illuminating the entire length of this decadently adorned hall. A series of gallery paintings are hung along the north wall, while a towering statue watches over from the far eastern wall. What does the statue look like? You approach the large stone statue and take note of its peculiar design. It appears to be a man clutching his own spilt entrails. The figure also has 3 eyes in its head, each staring blankly into the nether. What are these other 2 paintings? It's called Darkness of the Night. 4 walls. Let's go into the silent library then. You reach out to touch the canvas. At that moment, your finger makes a contact with the A's paint. The room spins into a blur. Knots coil in your stomach as your body is wrenched into the air. When the world starts spinning, and you regain your senses, you find yourself in a study brimming with books. Oh, I'm really running out of words. The warm glow emanates from the crackling fire. You're tempted to recline in one of the fine leather chairs, possessing near a stack of books in this well-stocked study. A piece of the Sins parchment Rests on a small table by the fire. The only exit is a door to the north. What's on the books? This book is titled The Sting of Passion. It describes the exploits of a lustful empress whose thirst runs deeper than the mere carnal pleasures of the flesh. Every third moon, Lady Valentine issued a call throughout the kingdom seeking suitors to satiate her particular desires. And so powerful was her allure, her dark majesty, that dozens of able-bodied men and women would flock to the gates of her spire, and bare themselves without shame or hesitation for her meticulous scrutiny. The most pleasing of whom were selected and granted entrance to her palace, where they were stripped, washed, and anointed in preparation. In small groups the devotees would be led to the empress' private chambers, which would echo into screams of passion for hours on end. Without fail, they proved eager, attentive lovers, their bodies pressed against the empress en masse with writhing ecstasy, entangled by the thrall of their fatal pleasures. For when each participant reached the height of passion, the beloved empress would caress them lovingly as she produced a sharp blade and drove it deep inside them, lapping up their crimson essence and running their fingers through their gaping wound as the life spilled forth from them. Despite the glimpse of their impending fate, the evening's proceedings continued until one after another, each devotee eagerly succumbed to the empress's unflinching need. And when their final breath rattled free from the last pair of lips, all that remained was the empress, cloaked in their entrails and flushed with a gleaming power none could resist. You close the book. Ah. An hour of reading. And I think, for the sake of my throat, I'm gonna have to call that. Whew. I can see how that Dev Notes was for 40,000 words. Because, oh boy, that was a lot of reading. I don't know. Maybe next year I'll start doing, like, creepypastas or something. Because that's the experience. But I think if I keep this up, I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna wear my voice out. So I think I'm gonna go bug Joe. Have fun, everybody.